Hi guys, Mia here, the managing partner of Mia & Co. Today, 1st July 2025, which is the commencement of the expanded scope of sales and service tax. Alright, so a lot of you may wonder why this tax is being introduced and why is there increase in tax and stuff. So let me just give my point of view on this so-called practice or this kind of introduction, right? So first thing is, if you have seen the budget presentation by our Minister of Finance, Tuzo PMX, right, last year, so he did say that the sales and service tax will be expanded in the sense of the scope. All right, so it's not a new tax, it's just the expansion of the sales and service tax. So there's a sales tax act, there's a service tax act. Okay, so it's two different constitution, all right. And the thing is that there's already been in practice, especially since October 2018. All right, so previously, of course, we had GST, all right, then GST was abolished and the SST was brought back, all right. So when SST made a return in 2018 October, all right, so the sales tax has been there in practice since then. Okay, it's just that now the scope is expanded. Okay, that's the only thing. So there's no such thing as new tax being introduced, all right. It's just expansion of the scope. Okay, example, luxury tax or a sales tax on racing bicycle, right? Sales tax on imported fruits, okay, and constructions which within expansion of certain scopes or amount, all right, and of course rental on commercial buildings, okay, and private institutions who's providing a diploma or degree or a higher education where you pay a amount of fees of 60,000 and above in during a calendar year, all right. All this, there will be a tax involved, all right. So it's just an expansion of the scope, all right. It's not an introduction of a new tax. And the thing is that why such a tax has to be introduced or expansion has to be done is because the thing is that it has been tabled in the budget last year, okay, which is 2025's budget, which was presented last year by the Prime Minister, SST. And when it was tabled and it was adopted in the Parliament, which means it has to be implemented during this year. Okay, of course, the deadline is by 31st December. So that's where the government introduced it middle of the year. Okay, so obviously some of you could say it could have been done early of the year, which definitely I personally agree. All right, but the thing is that at least end of the day, they still introduced it during the year. Okay, so of course, a lot of industry leaders and Chamber of Commerce and the leaders and stuff, they did mention their opinion that things could have been recommended earlier so that the preparation, especially on the budgeting, okay, on the cash flow and also on the system and stuff or the framework could have been in place at the earlier stage rather than putting it in the middle of the year. Okay, for me, it's better late than never. So rather than putting it end of the year or towards the final quarter of the year, it's better to have it middle of the year. All right, so that is one. And next thing is, of course, when you have tax, it's for strengthening the fiscal policy for the country itself. Okay, so for a country, for the income, there's two ways. One is external, one internal. External is, of course, through the international trade. That's why you have seen our Prime Minister going overseas, meeting the leaders, or he has been inviting leaders from various countries to Malaysia. All right. So this is how you can enhance the income, all right, of for the country itself, and that is external. For the internal point of view, is definitely through the tax. And they are expecting by expanding the scope of a sales and service tax, they can at least get 10.8 billion ringgit. Yes, it's estimated collection of tax amount is 10.8 billion ringgit. And as presented by our Prime Minister, PMX, and of course the Finance Minister, all right, there was a fiscal deficit in the budget when it was presented last year. Okay, there was 80 billion deficit, and this has to be reduced. Okay, so how it can reduce this, as I mentioned, is through either the external way of income or the internal way of income. The external way is through the international trade, and the internal way is of course through collection of tax. All right, so this is one of the way. Okay, so these are the few so-called the points that I would like to share on the implementation or the expansion of the sales and service tax, the expanded version of sales and service tax. All right, so do subscribe to my channel, and I will definitely share a lot more news and updates related to this sales and service tax. All right, so for those of you who have been watching and giving me support, it's fantastic. So I'll definitely give you more inputs on a practical way, okay, or about this sales and service tax. All right, so do keep watching. I shall see you in my next video. Take care.